Hey, what do you do, baby? Welcome to the Insane Army. Thank you guys for liking, watching, and subscribing. Reboot Hit. Before, I want to talk about all the leaders that are coming out this set. Pole Goku, Swap Frieza, Blue Baby, etc. Because those are the competitive decks, I think. But before I do that, I want to show some like fun decks, jank decks. Even though I think this one's really good, okay? I think that it's important to play fun decks to keep your sanity. If you're going to be playing competitive decks, it's good to have a side fun deck, I think, to take a break. And also, if your competitive deck is yellow, right? And you're playing like, I don't know, Trunks Vegeta, right? I think it's good to have a fun blue deck, fun red deck, black, green. One, to have some fun with the game, right? So you're not burning yourself out of your main deck. Not too much, but also so you can familiarize yourself with the other colors in a light and fun manner. Like when your friend is like, oh, I want to test a package on my deck. Can I play against you? You don't want to whip out your best deck. Sometimes you want to whip out like your pet deck to give him a chance to really test his leader. So this is one of those leaders that I think is really good for that. However, even though it's a fun jank deck, I think that Hit has an incredible ceiling and incredible ability to him. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. I think that if tomorrow they revealed this leader as someone that's going to come out next set, we would be like really happy to hear this guy coming out because I think it can be really powerful. So let's just go over it. You tell me if I'm wrong, okay? This guy came out like 3 years ago. Well, he came out like 6 years ago because it was rebooted, but whatever. So when he attacks, he gets 5k power and he draws a card. He does have to swing at a leader card to do that, which is kind of bad. And when he's at 4 or less, he draws a card and untaps one. So the front side is not that great, even though he does draw and goes to 15k. But some of the new support makes it a little better, okay? Now, it's the backside that I really like about this leader. So when he attacks, he still gets the 5k pump and he draws a card. But he does play a skillless card from your drop area, a 2-drop. This is sick. So on attack, he swings for a 20k draw card and then he plays a 20k skillless battle card for free. This is really good. And what's crazy about him is that he has an activate main or battle once per turn. If you choose a card from your hand and you put it in your drop area, you can choose one of your opponent's double strike, critical, or blocker and KO it. They can be swinging with a secret rare with critical or double strike. And you're like, okay, activate battle, KO it. This is activate battle. This card's really crazy. So like, I don't know, bro. If you're playing against fucking Trunks Vegeta and they're swinging with duo, okay, drop a card, KO it, it's got double strike. And then, obviously the point of this deck is to drop your skillless cards, and then when you swing with leader, he replays them, right? I think this is really good, right? So far, clearly the problem is the front side. I don't think the front side is like horrific, but it only has one form of awakening, and it only swings at leader, so like I can see how it can be a bit of a problem. Let's go into the deck, because I think it goes into how it makes up for it. Now, it did recently get support. Hit Ready to Brawl is a unison that costs 2. And what's really cool about this unison is that when this card is attacked by a card with 10k power or more, card, not battle card or leader card, any card, you can switch the target of that attack to your leader. So if somebody's trying to get rid of this unison, you can just be like, fuck you, I'm going to redirect the attack to my leader. And then the plus one is he takes up to 1 card from your life to your hand, and then he places 1 skillless battle card with an energy cost of 2 from your deck in your drop area, and then it shuffles your deck. This is sweet, bro, because like every turn this guy's on board, he's filling your drop with your skillless so that when your leader attacks later, he can play him. So it increases the consistency of your leader, and it makes it so that like you can awake. It's a self-awakener. You know what I mean? So you only really need this guy on board like for 1 turn, right? I don't think this card's good enough to get like Smoke Dragoned. Like if your opponent gets rid of this with some crazy effect, I think they're wasting out on the turn because this unison's not that good for them. For us, I think it's kind of great because it's good enough to make my leader good. I only need this guy on the board for 1 turn and a half, I guess, for him to make me snapped, because he's gonna deflect an attack towards my leader, help me self-awaken, and then he's gonna +1, get a card on my drop and self-awaken me, right? If he lives, though, you can tap 2 if you have 3 or more energy and play Foreseeing Hit from 2. So Foreseeing Hit, as you all know, 20k double strike. When you play, you look at your opponent's hand and you choose any 2 battle cards that have 35,000 or less, and you warp them for a turn and a half. So this is really good when you're going for game. Now, Foreseeing Hit is dead in the game right now. However, I mean, if I can play him for fucking 2, I'll run it. I'll run 2 of them, okay? Just in the off chance that, like, if I'm going for a game and I think that they have, like, some sort of, like, riposte or something like that, fuck it, Foreseeing Hit. Get the riposte out of here, get the super combo out of here, now I'm going for game. Now that you know that, like, you've seen their hand, you know, do they have a Piccolo secret rare, whatever the fuck you're looking for, you know what I mean? Like, looking at your opponent's hand is sweet. And you're playing a 20k double strike for 2, that's really good. So that's the beginning, okay? This fixes the problem of the front side being a little bit weak. However, I still think the backside is so powerful. You guys tell me, what do you think? Because that backside is insane. 2 Wolfang Fists and 1 Yamcha, just because we're running the Unison. Now, red cards in general got a huge buff with Son Gohan defeating the demon and Super Saiyan Broly surging attack. I mean, this is just obvious. Broly surging attack is a 1-drop critical servant, so it's 25k. And then when you play him, you can either choose one of your opponent's battle cards with 15k power or less and KO it. Or you can choose one of your non-Overlord leaders, and this card gains Overlord once per turn, so he's going to draw and bottom deck himself. You play him for 1 energy if your opponent has 2 or more energy. So this is really fucking good. Son Gohan defeating the demon. If you have enough, I mean, you guys have seen this card, right? You can play it for 1 if you have enough C energy. And it comes out for 1 when he gets played. You minus something 20k for the turn. He has a blocker and double strike. Go ahead and read it. I mean, we've gone over these cards already, but this is a really good buff for red. And man, I'm just happy that red got this. I know red's been good for a while, but it just helps decks like Hit as well. Again, 3 testing the opposition. The clone negates, and this deck does run skillless cards. So Son Gohan Nimbus Master, when you combo him for 1, you can Z charge him, which makes him a lot better now. But it plays a 2 or less from your deck or drop area. You know what I mean? This is really good. Also, the fact that it shuffles your deck is anyone to play Surging Attack knows, especially if you're playing 4 of them, how cool shuffling your deck can be, because you're gonna see them again. So far the deck's pretty red, but I do want to go into a red-green package. So for those of you that have been around long enough, when this deck first came out, Frieza's Army Healing Pod is extremely good in this deck because it's a field that's green, and anytime you play a card from the drop, you draw a card. Now, he immediately, when you play him, draws you a card. Because you play him, you know, with swing lead, you play the skillless draw card, right? But it also makes Nappa Demolition Man really good, because now this is a super combo that combos twice and draws a card. This is really good. Nappa Demolition Man, per ruling, gets played from a drop area, so technically he draws you a card with Frieza's Army Healing Pod. So like every turn with Frieza's Army Healing Pod, you swing lead, draw a card. Play a skillless, draw a card with Healing Pod. Back in the day, we would play the 1-drop black Shenron Unison that would make you draw another card to give the skillless double strike. You can, but I just like this guy more because he's harder to kill and he helps your leader awaken. Also, like, your opponent could just swing at Shenron 10 times and fuck you, you know what I mean? Whereas this guy helps you awaken, you know, and protects himself, right? Now, I am running Demonic Origins and Piccolo Jr. Piccolo Jr. just to give me some red-green targets to charge early on so that I can just freeze his army pod by turn 2 to 3. And then Burly Demonic Origins to fix my energy. He's your energy exhaust denier once you have a multicolor. Now, I don't expect this card to ever live Eradicator of Peace. I expect this guy to go off once. But if you can get him off just once, he's insane. When he attacks, he's double strike, burns a life, and he draws you 2 cards if you meet the alliance requirement. This is a really good... This is one of the most like overtuned 2-drops in the game. The problem is that it doesn't have Deflector Barrier, so he fucking sucks. But if you get him to pop once, I mean, it's a draw ape that's swinging for basically triple strike, like 30k, depending what you're resting, right? So, let's see. Also, if this looks sacky, having 4 of these 10ks, just remember your leader drops whatever you don't want from your hand. You know what I mean? So if you don't like having that many, you can run less. Or, oh, I have 2 Eradicators apiece. Fuck this, I don't want it. Then you drop 1. Because remember, you're going to be dropping 2 cards for this effect. 1 in your turn, 1 in your opponent's. You don't have to, but it's totally worth it if you want to just KO a double strike or critical, right? So going next is your skillless package. I'm running 4 and 4. These are just the coolest green cards, I think. They're skillless for 2 energy. Now, if we're obviously running the green skillless cards because Frieza's Army Healing Pod only procs with green battle cards. But I'm running the Great Saiyaman 2 Budding Hero Videl because when this so activate main for 1 green energy, right? Choose one of your skillless battle cards with an energy cost of 2 or less and return it to my hand. When I do, I play this 15k from hand. So, like, you play your skillless for free. You swing with leader, swing with a skillless. Then you tap 1. You play Great Saiyaman 2 Budding Hero, and you bounce it back to your hand. And then, when this card is played from your hand, you can play up to 1 skillless battle card with an energy cost 2 or less from your deck or drop area. And then shuffle your deck again. It's like, this card is so good with this leader. Like, it makes so much sense to play it. So basically, you're swinging 3 times for 1 energy. You know what I mean? Like, it's really good cycle. Like, if you guys are playing this deck, if this deck, I'm telling you, if this deck came out today, we would be looking at it like, oh shit, this is kind of fucking good. Like, remove any, like, all these swap decks with these keywords on them, or blue decks that are coming out, or bro, if you don't have barrier, eat a dick, drop a card, KO your shit. Really good removal. Red has gotten some really good support, and the green side of this deck is really good, as you can see. It has decent draw power. Now, you can make this deck mono green or mono red. I think mono red is obviously the better version of it, but the red green is my favorite. Let me know which version you guys like more. I think that the best secret rare for this deck is like maybe Pan, but I just wanted to bring this card to your attention. The Super Saiyan 3 Gohanks, because this deck will have problems getting rid of barrier cards, you know. But this fucking card, nobody talks about the secret rare, but decks like Yellow in the upcoming meta are going to be a pain in the ass with Slug. Right? They're gonna be a pain in the ass with the Sin Shenron. I think his name is Cold Hearted something, but there's a Sin Shenron TP. And that card is a 24k behemoth. He denies skills of cards coming in. He's a blocker, but he has a barrier and deflect. He's really good. There's a lot of barrier cards in the game right now, like Poutine as well, that are just really troublesome. And especially in Yellow, right? And Gohanks, when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and they just get negged 25 power for the turn. Also, there's a lot of like indestructible cards, especially with blue decks and sometimes green with Samasu, and this gets around them because it negs. This is a really good fucking unison. Also, remember, we're running Yamcha, we're running Wolfang Fist, so this helps with that. It's a dual attack, and it's a blocker. So even if you're tapping out, you're tapping 4. You hate to see it. It is a blocker. You do have defensive cards with it. You have Clone Negates. The -1 is an auto. When your opponent attacks with a battle card, you can choose it, and it gets -25 for the turn. This is pretty fucking powerful, right? And then the -4, you can give this card 15k and triple strike for the turn. Dual attack, it's really good. And then you switch them to active mode. So this is a really good card with this deck, I think. Again, if you want to play Pan or Kai, that's fine. Or whatever the fuck you want to play. But I wanted to bring this STR to your attention because I think it's heavily underplayed. And in a world of jank decks that I think have a high ceiling, that are underappreciated, I think it's in flavor to bring up Super Saiyan 3 Gohanks, because just like Hit Leader, I think it's underappreciated and very high ceiling. We are running a lot of KO shit, like the leader KOs, the battle cards KO, so Surprise Attack Frieza at 2, it just makes sense. There can be an argument that there's too many 10Ks in his deck, but the leader drops a card, so that's what I'll be dropping. But no, you can always cut back. Maybe run 2 Eradicators apiece, 1 Attack Frieza, whatever. Maybe run 2 Secret Identities instead of 1. Up your 5Ks. Just want to bring that to your attention. But I love the deck. Do you guys think I'm crazy about this deck being like decent? Because I think it's decent. I think the deck actually has potential. I think the deck is very powerful. The ceiling is insane. If you're playing a deck like, if you're playing against like Bulma, this deck is hilarious because you're just, everything has blocker and Bulma. If you're playing against a deck that has a lot of keywords like critical and double strike, this is really good. Yellow decks have a problem with that, you know what I mean? They have a lot of keywords in them. But I mean, honestly, any color does that now. But let me know what you guys think. Do you guys like it? Do you not? Do you have a secret pet deck that you like, a secret jank deck? Do you think this deck has potential to play against some of these crazier decks? I think that if Gogeta SS4, the red SS4 deck, GT, gets banned, this leader just gets a lot better too, because like, you know, especially like turns Cheetah, Gamma, shit like that. But even those decks have a lot of cards with critical or double strike that I can just go like, fuck you, KO. You know what I mean? Like, I just love this leader's backside. And I think that this backside alone is enough to make me want to at least bring it to local. You know? What do you guys think? Do you like my list? What would you change about it? What does your list look like? Let me know. And I'll see y'all next time.